Hello, my name is Rajef, and today we'll be discussing a man that has been most regarded as the richest person in history. A man who promoted true education and urbanization of mere camping areas into sprawling cultural centers. But most importantly, a man who used his faith in a divine nature to expand his wealth and reach of his empire. This man is none other than the legendary ruler of the Mali Empire, Mansa Musa. Musa I of Mali, or Mansa Musa, is presumed to have been born sometime in the late 1200s and took over as the Mansa, or Emperor, of the Mali Empire, a sprawling West African empire that lasted from the 13th century to the 17th century. Due to the immense amount of gold and salt deposits on the land, and absorbing the former Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire became more and more powerful. Its ruler, Mansa Abu Bakr II, had gotten lost at sea during a voyage. Because of this, Mansa Musa inherited the throne in 1312. When Mansa Musa inherited the throne, the empire was already wealthy and powerful. But under Mansa Musa's rule, the empire would become the most wealthiest empire in all of Africa. This was due to many things, but most predominantly, it was due to Mansa Musa's emphasis on expanding the trade and assets of the Mali Empire. But in the process of this, Mansa Musa held his faith and his belief of Islam in the forefront of his rule. Mansa Musa and his rule of the Mali Empire is deeply rooted in faith, a factor that played a pivotal role in its expansion. Due to the spread of the Arab trade and travel, the Mali Empire in its early days had leaders, counselors, and advisors who were Muslim. But by the turn of the 14th century, Mali emperors became Muslim, with Mansa Musa being the most famous of these Muslim rulers. In 1324, Mansa Musa went on a Hajj. This is an Islamic pilgrimage to the city of Mecca and the Kaaba, which is the holiest place for Muslims. During this pilgrimage, Mansa Musa made his mark on the world stage by traveling to the Arab world with thousands of people and tons of camels that carried around 300 pounds of gold. Mansa Musa's riches were so vast that during his time to visit in Egypt, he gave them so much gold that it lowered the value of gold for more than 10 years in the country. All of this increased the notoriety of Mansa Musa and put Mali on the world map in terms of trade and influence. But Mansa didn't let the money and fame get to him, because his number one focus is helping out his people, strengthening his culture, and serving Allah, which is what Muslims call God. Because of his dedication towards Islam, Mansa Musa helped bolster up cities in his kingdom by building big public buildings and mosques. Mosques are Islamic places of worship. One of the most famous cities that Mansa Musa turned into a cultural and intellectual haven was the city of Timbuktu, which still exists to this day. Mansa Musa made Timbuktu a major hub for Islamic education and culture. It served as a university, a trading hub, and a place for Islamic scholars, draftsmen, and architects, which consequently grew the Mali Empire to grand new heights. In fact, Mansa Musa's scholarly and religious efforts in Timbuktu made it eventually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which means that the city is protected by the United Nations for having a grand historical and cultural significance. All of this because Mansa Musa wanted his cities to be a representation of what he believed should be the empire's religious faith and principle. This just goes to show that Mansa Musa impacted the world, not just because of his wealth, but because of his faith in the Islamic religion that still has its effects till this day, after hundreds of years since his passing in 1337. With all of Mansa Musa's wealth and popularity, he still chose God and his faith first. This video isn't meant to convince you guys to become Muslims or Christians or Buddhists or whatever religion. The point is, no matter what stage you are in your journey, it is important to remain humble and do the right thing. A lot of times, that involves working hard and living your life for something beyond yourself, whether it's something as big as God or other deities in many different religions, or even your family, friends, and or significant others. The part of finding our purpose and finding fulfillment is thinking beyond yourself, because inevitably, if you are doing the right things in your journey, you will become successful. You may not be the richest person in history, but you could very well make a lot of money. And when you do, eventually, you'll have everything you ever wanted and achieve all you sought out for. From the beginning all the way to our deaths, we must recognize that working for something higher than ourselves or someone other than ourselves is what gives us purpose. Having faith in your efforts towards something that is divine or purposeful is what keeps us grounded. Mansa Musa believed in using his wealth to help his people and spread the message of Islam, rather than only using it for himself and his own interests. If one of the richest people to ever exist was grounded by faith and purpose, what arrogance do we have to not do the same? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe so that you can stay tuned whenever a new video on the channel drops. If you want to see short clips and extra content, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Besides that, thank you for watching this episode of Jumla Historia.